Silver bullet time, 9mm versus 38 special and duty size guns. So we have our Winchester Silvertip ammunition. Our 9mm is a 115 grain jacketed hollow point. Our 38 special is a 110 grain jacketed hollow point. I'm really curious of what I'm going to get with these. I may have tested these way back in the past before my modern current protocol for ballistic testing, so I'm really curious of what we're going to get in my current protocol. So I'm going to use my 5-inch M&P here, 2.0 and 9mm to test the 9mm, and our Smith & Wesson 686 and 357 mag to test our 38 special. Similar overall sized guns. That's the main reason why I use a 4-inch revolver versus a 5-inch auto, because you know your size is about the same, take up about the same real estate. So our 9mm here, we're going to see what our rate of velocity is. I didn't write it down. I believe it is on the box though, so let's take a look here if I can hold it still. We are at 1225 feet per second, so that's not bad of a rating for being a standard pressure. Our 38 special here is rated at 945 feet per second, so both these have about an average velocity rating. So we're going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy we get at the same time. Then I'm going to do my 10% clear ballistic test. We're going to go into plain clear ballistics first to see what the best potential of those cartridges are. And the reason why I do that is sometimes if you go right on the Denim protocol, you never get hollow point expansion, then you can't really ever see what it's supposed to look like. So I like to do that first to see, you know, what it's supposed to look like, how it's supposed to expand, because the odds are it will expand in plain clear ballistics. Then after that, I'm going to do our real world simulation where I have 4 layers of denim on this first 3-inch piece that represents our pectoral muscle. After that, a 1/4-inch medium density fiberboard to represent hitting ribs or sternum. That'll be our real world simulation. And then I'm going to shoot at the steel target to see what kind of practical accuracy I can get with these. So let's get started with this test. All right, our 9mm 115 grain Silvertip rated at 1225 feet per second. I'm going to do something a little bit different today than what I normally do. It's been a long time since I've really focused on my accuracy. I generally just do this chronograph session and then at the steel, shooting at the steel as fast as I can do it just to save some time. But I've noticed that my groups have kind of opened up quite a bit over the past couple of years. So I figured today I'm going to shoot really slow with every shot I take to try to be as accurate as I possibly can. See if I can tighten up my groups a little bit. So 9mm rated at 1225 feet per second. I believe that's through a 4-inch barrel. Let's see what I get through my 5-inch barrel here. $12.63. 12.90. 12.65. 12.73. 12.66. So above rated velocity as to be expected, very low recoil. Let's see what I can do with our 38 special rated at 945 feet per second. $9.82. $9.70. $9.98. $9.64. 1001. So above rated velocity. Typically those are through 4-inch barrels, so I'm surprised to see that we're above rated velocity. You have a 4-inch barrel. Very nice. Let's set our ballistics gel block, see how these two compare. All right, our first shot in the plain clear ballistics, our best potential shot here. Let's see what we get here with our 9mm. All right. Let's hit that with our 38 special, see how this does. Let's go take a look. All right. right, so interesting performance here. You can see with the 9mm kind of the issue that happened with the FBI shootout in 1986. You know, it overexpanded pretty much. And when it hit that bad guy, it didn't hit any bones or anything either, so that's likely what happened. Whole bunch of energy dump in that first 3 inches with the 9mm. Essentially none with the 38 Special. So it looks like we have opposite issues going on with these. Our 9mm, obviously we overexpanded, massive expansion, but we underpenetrated. We went to about 10 to 10 1/4 inches of penetration. I know that camera parallax will pick this up a lot different. It'll make it look like that bullet is further up from my finger this way, but we are at exactly 10 1/4 inches of penetration. Now our 38 Special, I can't really tell if there's expansion. It looks like there may be some, but I could be looking at that from a wrong angle as well. If that's facing forward, I don't really see any expansion. We had adequate penetration though of about 15.5 inches of penetration, but not a whole lot of energy dump and damage going on in there. Now our rib simulation might change that a little bit, so let's see if it does. We'll see how the Denim and MDF affect these. So let's put on our Denim MDF and see how they do now. All right, our best potential shot through Denim, 3 inches of clear ballistics, and MDF. That's like clothing and ribs. So let's see how our 9mm does. All right, let me set that back up. We'll hit it with the 38 Special now. All right, 38 Special through Denim and MDF, our real world simulation. Let's see what this does. Go take a look. All right, I was trying to be very precise with that because I do notice a lot of times I get a little bit too close to the one below. We barely caught that. The top is bulging on that, but yeah, that's a good catch though, either way. But what we're seeing here is a big difference through our rib simulation, and actually a big difference through our first 3 inches. I always like to show the first 3 inches because that can kind of show energy dump. And what we got here, we're from this side, the right side. We still had good energy dump with our 9mm, and still pretty much the same thing with our 38, pretty much none. So what we got going on here though is an improved performance with our 9mm. I cannot see that bullet with the 38 Special to be able to tell what's going on with that until we take it out. But what we can see with the 9mm is we got more adequate penetration, a little bit smaller expansion, 14 1/4 inches of penetration overall. That bringing that expansion down a little bit through that Denim, and also hitting that MDF did cause it to perform quite well. So we can kind of see right there, you know, when we talk about the FBI shootout failure, you can kind of see what happened. Because it went through the guy's arm without hitting a bone, it overexpanded, stopped short of the heart. But in a normal situation, that Silvertip would have worked really fine. So, you know, this is where kind of it all started, where you had to change at that point, where they had to change what they were doing to make a more consistent performing round. Our 38 Special, I can't see it. Well, actually I can. It looks like there's no expansion. We got a penetration of about 18 3/4 inches of penetration. That's not over penetration. Clear ballistics, your bullets will go a little bit deeper than that versus organic gel. So I would not consider that over penetration, but we did not get any expansion. That being said, that hollow cavity did slow that down, so it didn't over penetrate. So really what I'm seeing here is a pretty good 9mm round and kind of a bad 38, because, you know, if this happened with the 38 and a 2-inch barrel, we could give it a pass and be like, you know, it's not a plus P, whatever. But when you're shooting it through a 4-inch barrel and it's not performing, that's not a very good performing cartridge. So let's take these out of the block. We'll take a close-up look at them. Then I'm going to shoot our steel, see what kind of practical accuracy I can get with these. All right, so here's a close-up look at these bullets going through plain gel. Here is our 9mm. Absolutely massive expansion. No jacket separation, so that's pretty good. Here's our 38 Special, absolutely terrible. I always hate to see this because 38 Special is actually a pretty good cartridge, even in the standard pressure. when you shoot through a 4-inch barrel, it typically expands pretty well and does pretty good. But then some people will see a video like this or a test like this, and they'll see that, and now the reputation of the 38 Special is that they're all like that. I mean, actually, this is actually kind of a rarity to see something like this through a 4-inch barrel where we didn't get any expansion at all. So definitely not very good performance with our 38 Special. Now going through our medium density fiberboard, I'll pull up the 38. Same thing going on. Not enough velocity to expand that. So just overall not so great. But because it is a flat nose, you know, that tends to make it so it doesn't over penetrate. And it's kind of the opposite of Full Metal Jacket. Flat nose, that'll actually penetrate more, but I think it has to do with the hollow cavity and it being a flat nose. Somehow it slows down a little bit. Now when we look at our 9mm, just overall consistent performance. I'll be honest here, this looks like Winchester USA, like pretty much exactly the same thing going on. Even though this has a little more velocity, I believe. Maybe it doesn't, but you know, the performance seems about the same as Winchester white box, Winchester USA jacket or hollow point. Now it's black box, but you know, basically it's very similar performance. So I do think it's pretty much the same ammo, just with the silver color. We might actually have a little more velocity though, versus the USA stuff, but yeah, just overall the bullet construction seems very similar. So not too bad with our 9mm, terrible with our 38 Special. So that's a close-up look at those bullets. All right, so I'm at my 25-yard marker. I want to see what kind of accuracy I can get with these. How tight can I grip these if I slow fire these? Like I was saying at the beginning, I really want to slow fire and see if I can tighten up my groups a little bit. So I want to see what I can get. So 9mm, let's see what I can do with this. All right, so I'm gonna be honest, not great. You know, it's a group about this big, not great. Could be the ammo, it could be me. Could be the way my gun likes the ammo, or it could be because it's freezing out today. Who knows? I have a lot of excuses, but not great. Let's see what I can do with our 38 Special here. See how this does. Alright, so I can't see exactly where I'm hitting. I can't tell if I'm hitting in a similar spot or if those groups are moving around down to where I already hit. But I have a feeling like this 38 was a little more accurate for me. It felt more accurate. There's actually a little bit less recoil on this. So even though this is kind of a fail ballistically in terminal ballistics, it's actually a very accurate round and very low recoil. It shoots really good. So let me paint that up, back it up some, see how they continue to shoot for me. All right, 75 yards from the target. I know it's not practical. I'm not telling you to train from this distance. I'll be honest here, the main reason why I do this distance in the summer here is because of lighting issues. I don't know what the issue is. Like, I don't want to face the camera that direction when we're up close because a lot of my junk is up there, including an ATV you guys don't want to see. It's one step above a lawnmower. It's absolutely the ugliest thing you've ever seen, so I try to keep that out of my camera shot. And if I, you know, the sun comes from the south that direction, and it's a weird thing. If I put myself over there in the camera where I am, even though I'm in the sun, it's the opposite. It blacks everything out. But when we put it towards the sun, I'm very well lit. So I've never understood that, but that's just how it is. So I like to come back to where I have a clearing here where the camera footage is going to look good, and then just shoot. And you know, it's a challenge anyway, so why not? So I'm gonna do our 38 Special first because I have a lot more rounds of these 9mm. So see what I can do with our 38 Special from 75 yards. All right, don't know where that went. More than likely it's dropping though. Go single action, aim a little bit high, see if I can locate where this is going. I don't see any impact, so I don't know where that hit. Keep doing that though. Huh. Wow. I'm focusing here. Alright, so I believe what's going on based on the impacts I can see is that they were all shooting to the left. So I don't know why they're shooting to the left, but they are. 9mm. Let's see what I can do with this. I don't know what's going on now. Huh. It's doing really well, and then all of a sudden I'm just having some trouble. So, you know, more than likely I just flinched a little or something like that, or there was something with the ammo where it was undercharged for a round or two. But what I can definitely say here and see here is that at distance the 9mm is a little bit more capable. I think that's just from the velocity. You know, probably what's going on with that 38 was we're just kind of losing some steam over some distance, and there, you know, once you do that to get down to a certain velocity, sometimes they can just veer right off. You can actually see that in a lot of some of the Hickok 45 videos where he's shooting at the gun. You'll see even heavier 45s and then just because they're starting out pretty slow. But when you push a bullet out faster, it's going to go a lot further distance before it starts doing a lot of weird stuff like that. And I think that's basically what's going on with this 9mm. You know, it is like throwing a frisbee. You don't just shoot as straight as people think they do. But looking at this here, yeah, our 9mm did a little bit better. I don't necessarily think it's more accurate. I just think that at this distance, you know, there's less weird stuff going on, and we're moving faster, so I'm able to hit with the 9mm more. With 38 special, you know, it's just, it gets up to a point, and I think it's starting to veer left. But at more practical ranges, at that 25 yards, I think our 38 was actually a little bit more accurate here. So looking at this ammo overall, okay, I'm going to say it's not terrible ammo. Now with that 38 special, no expansion in a 4-inch barrel, that's rare. But it is a standard pressure, it is a light bullet, so I guess I can see why it wouldn't. Very accurate, and we did not have over penetration. So considering that, it's not absolutely awful, but it's definitely not great. You know, the recoil of this and its performance, about like a wad cutter. So I mean, it's not terrible, but you know, you could get definitely better choices. With our 9mm, actually I'm going to say it's pretty good for what it is. And then we can see that it over expands and under penetrates when you don't hit something hard like a bone, which for the most part is not going to be an issue. You look at this round, you think about the FBI shootout failure. That was through the side. That was a very rare situation. If you were to dump, you know, 9, 10, 11 inches into soft tissue from the front, there's plenty of penetration, even through ribs, there's plenty of penetration if it's still expanded out that big. But through the rib simulation, we definitely changed that diameter a little bit. So that's one of those weird things where this round failed one time when it really mattered, so then it got this bad reputation. But honestly, looking at the performance we're getting, it's not bad. You're dumping a lot of energy if you're not hitting a rib simulation, but you're also getting adequate penetration expansion if you do. And being that this ammo is one of the most inexpensive ammos out there, that counts for something. You know, I often see this 9mm for prices like $16.99 online for 20 rounds, and I actually bought this 50 round box for $25. So it's relatively inexpensive for jacket of hollow point ammo that still kind of performs. So looking at this, I would say our 9mm isn't a bad option. Had pretty low recoil, pretty accurate, pretty good terminal ballistics. Our 38 Special, if you're looking at for something for defense, I would say get something different than this. So that's what you get today. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.